Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Central, to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. Today, we're going to talk about the revisions to the branch role. Now, anyone that's already in as a branch, you're grandfathered in, no changes, no worries. But we're going to talk about how everything changes as of tomorrow, which provides you a new economic opportunity. We'll get to that in just a moment. So we're going to build out a team of what we call branch recruiters, and there's no cost for that. We'll go through the details in a moment. But first, let's make sure that we understand in our vernacular, what is a branch? So our primary distribution model is to enroll clients in the credit and funding program through private label branches. So through this business license approach, branches are provided the turnkey programming, which really means we do all the work, but provided the turnkey programming of the credit and funding program. What our branches are really enjoying, in addition to making a lot of money, is that they control client pricing. The branches control the terms and conditions that clients enroll in, and the branches control the customer experience. So the analogy I've used before, maybe it's not a great one, it's like you own a Domino's and we're providing the ingredients for the pizza, the pepperoni. So clients think about you, they see you, they pay you, but we're providing you the ingredients to make the pizza. We're your vendor, and that has worked out really, really well. And of course, all clients that enroll in the credit and funding program have a guaranteed $100,000 in funding. That's in writing, of course. So that's what the branch is. Not really our topic today, but just setting up the discussion. So some people say, well, is it profitable to own a branch? So we just simply need to look at the economic variable so you can come to your own conclusion. So we already said branches choose their own pricing. So you could charge a little, you could charge a lot, but there are standard pricing models that many of you are following. And that puts you right at $12,000 of income per client. So this is not get rich quick. You know, you see the lottery going up to 1 billion dollars. This isn't like winning the lottery. It's not like signing a new NBA contract as an all-star and making $100 million a year, whatever they make. So, I mean, this is a good, honest income. Many of you do it side gig. But it's obviously important to understand how the branches make money and why it's profitable. So they're paid up front and paid after the capital raise. So if you take those two on average pricing, that's obviously $12,000. That matches what we said here. So earning $12,000 per client, sounds pretty good, but it's kind of like, well, are there many people that need this or want this? And the answer is absolutely. There's nearly an unlimited number of small businesses, and you could even expand that to current small businesses and individuals that would like to start a small business if they had the capital to do so. So there's a large number of prospects, people who want and need capital to start and grow a business. And really, there's no direct competitors. Now, are there other organizations that do some parts of what we do? Absolutely. But when you look at the credit and funding program, separate from the 100,000 guarantee, what are we doing? We're helping improve their legitimacy legally and ethically on paper. We're getting them qualified for funding through the 3 C's, credit, collateral, and capacity. And we've talked about that in other trainings. There's no one else that has our model. So enrolling clients is quite easy. And as many of you have benefited from, we'll provide you free leads. We're so blessed. We're enrolling about 100 to 150 clients a day right now, which is great. But we also have people that inquire, and we have leads. And so we're more than happy to share those leads with you. And we don't sell those leads. We don't charge you for the leads. So the bottom line is, from an economic model, which is the section we're on here, the goal, not a mandate, not a requirement, but the goal, I think, should be to enroll one client per day. Here's why I like that goal. Number one, it adds up to a lot of money, but separate from that, it's easy to manage, right? You get up in the morning, you realize, okay, I'm at zero. I've enrolled 0 people because I just woke up, right? I'm heading to the coffee maker or whatever you do first thing in the morning, heading to the gym. And then at the end of your workday, it's pretty easy to reflect back, hey, did someone sign up or not, right? So 1 per day is manageable, easy to keep top of mind. Well, great thing, it's like exercise, right? It's hard sometimes to start a new exercise routine, but once you start doing it, it becomes a routine. You kind of miss not doing it, and it becomes just part of who you are and what you do. So if we were to start getting in the model of just recruiting 1 client a day, 1 client a day, 1 client a day, well, over a month's time, guess what happened? We just enrolled 30 people. Now, of course, there'll be some good days and some bad days, and ignoring that variability. But with that, it translates out pretty well, right? Because $12,000 is what we'd be making on a daily basis. And then if you assume that there's 30 days in the month, and I know some months have more days, some have less, but in general, easily multiplied, puts us at about $360 gross income per month. So think about that for a moment. That's not get rich quick. That's probably not life-changing. And you'll have expenses out of that. You're probably going to pay yourself a salary, and you'll probably have maybe you have an office expense, maybe you don't, maybe you have staff, maybe you don't, maybe a company car. So we're not saying this is your end profit, of course. Businesses are going to have expenses. You control that. But there's a lot of businesses that are not generating $360,000 per month in gross income. Any branch certainly should. And then if you extrapolate that out over 12 months, of course, it becomes a big number. Some people will look at that and say, oh, there's no way I could make 4 million a year. Well, there's a lot of other professionals that make 4 million a year. So why is it that you shouldn't if you're solving other people's problems? But you can scale this as you want. I'm not here to recruit you or make this seem too good to be true or pie in the sky. But I mean, you see the numbers, you control the pricing. Normally it's $2,000 up front. Normally it's 10% performance fee. I was just speaking to Art. Art's a brand new branch. She's on the Zoom this morning. And Art, well, no, it wasn't Art. Maybe it was Art. Forgive me. I've talked to a few people. Someone was going to do a 20% performance fee. I think it was Art. Yes, it was Art. And so Art's numbers would be different. Art would be looking at $22,000 per client gross income. So you can see the point. You control how much you make per unit. You control the units, but we can certainly provide the leads. None of this is the topic today, but just putting the foundation. So now let's get to the meat of the matter. When we rolled out the branch model, we announced, and I think you're all familiar with it, the normal branch price was going to be right at $5,000, but we offered kind of an early adopter incentive, and that's what all of you were in. So that's fine. Nothing's changing. No one's changing your deal at all. Wouldn't even think of it. So we had promotional pricing, which I think all of you are under, which is the $500 instead of $5,000. Well, we're going to move tomorrow. So today's the last day of the promotional pricing. So if you know anyone that wants to sign up under the promotional pricing, they're welcome to do so. They would sign up today, they'd pay today. As of tomorrow, we're going to the normal pricing. And here's why that benefits you. The normal pricing, which I mentioned a moment ago, is just a penny shy of $5,000. We're paying half of that to you. So literally, if you run into any individuals, and I suspect many of you are, then in fact, you can make $2,500 up front for each branch that you refer in. So let's talk about that. And there's no separate contract. This isn't complicated. It's just simply put, if you know of people that would like to be a branch also, here's how it works. So we definitely need more branches, more outlets into the communities across the country to be able to help more people improve financial literacy and help more people access capital. So that's our mission. And so the more branches we have, the more clients we can help. And that's great. So as I mentioned, we're going to offer a $2,500 commission for each branch that you refer in. So if you're not interested in this, I don't care. It's not pushing you into it. but I've had a number of you say, hey, as I'm working, especially the leads, so we're providing you leads, right? And so invariably some of the leads would say, hey, Brenda, or hey, Art, or hey, Andrea, or Bernard, I'd like to do this too. And Bernard's a great example. Bernard's one of our branches, and one of his clients quickly turned around and became a branch himself. And so now we have a way to monetize that for you, so you're able to be rewarded. So here is the process. So again, not asking you to be a recruiter. If you want to, or if you know people, that's fine. We just want to make sure that you're paid for referring people in. So here we go. Here's how it works. Obviously, you would identify branch owners. So if you know someone that's interested, I would suspect probably 2 out of 10 of your clients that you take through the program would also like to be branch owners. But regardless, you identify the branch owners. You'll collect the branch setup fee from them. We've already talked about what that is. Now, let's say they want to be a branch owner, but they don't have the branch setup fee. No problem. Then enroll them in the credit and funding program. So the credit and funding program, of course, is our normal structured process of helping people get qualified and raise capital. Not a problem. So once you have collected the $5,000 branch setup fee, and so that's going to be paid essentially to your branch. So your branch is able to bring on other branches. They would pay your branch, and then you're going to keep half and send the other half to us. So it's a nice 50-50 split. And that's kind of the spirit of the branch model. That's what we're doing with clients as well. We'll take care of the onboarding, the training, the support. We'll provide them leads. So in other words, you're not burdened or obligated or responsible for hand-holding them once they've signed, but now you're able to economically be rewarded for people that you refer in that want to become a branch. So that's what's highlighted here. So pretty simple, but we just wanted to clarify that. So who has questions, comments, concerns? Timothy has first question. His question is, does a branch have to be enrolled in credit and funding? No, not at all. So a client can be a client. A distribution partner can be a distribution partner. Some people do both. Some people do neither, of course, but no, there's no obligation. We're not creating any strings to it. But what I'm trying to clarify, Timothy, on number 2, is that if someone wants to be a branch, but they lack the liquidity or current access to credit to put it on a credit card or whatever, then in those cases, then they can certainly get financing. And the way that they would do that is no different than anyone else. So it doesn't matter if you want financing to start a church, or to start a branch, or to start a school, or to start an accounting firm. The credit and funding program is the method we go through. Who has questions, comments, concerns on our brief topic today? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. What's key to know are the dates. So we're recording this live, those of you live, together on August 13th. I'm sorry, August 18th. So August 18th is the last day of the promotional pricing. So anyone that signs up and pays their branch setup fee, they'll get that, no change, no harm, everything is fine. However, as of tomorrow, as of midnight tonight, I guess, but as of a calendar date, August 19th, the promotional pricing will end. And anyone that signs up or hasn't paid by then will be then under the normal pricing model, of which 50% comes to you. All right, so Brenda and I were talking this morning. Brenda's concept is, what if she wanted to offer someone a prompt pay discount? So she's got a number of prospects already for branches, but let's say that the normal price, well, it's not that we're saying it, the normal price is, we'll just round it off, call it $5,000. What if she offered someone a $500 prompt pay discount? Hey, Joey or Susie or Larry, see you're interested in becoming a branch. Tell you what, we can take 10% off if you sign up today. So you could do that if you want, but that would come from your side. We need $2,500 to cover our cost of training and support. We're going to be adding some additional training and support for new branches under this new / original price point. So we need our half. But if you wanted to play with your half, So I guess Timothy's question is, could he just sell a branch for 2,500? Well, you could, but now you've cut out your portion. So essentially anything above 2,500 is your profit. So if you wanted to just make $500 off of it, you could sell the branch for 3,000. If you wanted to just make 1,000 off of it, you could sell the branch for 3,500. Again, this isn't the core of what we do. This is not what we're going to be spending time talking about on a daily basis. It's just a number of you have come back. Oscar, who's not on the training this morning, Oscar had a lead that we provided him for credit and funding. Her name's Nicole, and Nicole said, hey, I want to be a branch. And Oscar's kind of like, well, what does he do with that? How does he handle that? How does he monetize that? And so now, for example, when Oscar has clients that want to become a branch, he can make a nice, easy 2,500 off of it. That's all it is. So again, this is not the focus of what we do. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it going forward. Just needed to let you know about how you can monetize it if you wish, and then how the price points go into our normal pricing as of tomorrow. All right, so let me see what questions. Andrea has a question. Andrea has a question regarding the credit and funding program, so that's fine. So we'll pivot a bit, and Andrea is on task with what we normally do. We normally focus on these trainings about how to help small businesses get qualified for funding. So we'll pivot a bit. So Andrea's question is about the credit and funding program. For the credit and funding program, you, Andrea, you're the branch, you determine how much the clients pay up front, and you, Andrea, and branches determine what the performance fee is. Now, as we've talked about in other trainings, and as is in your license agreement, there's minimums that we need to be able to provide the services that we provide. So we need a minimum of the 1,000 to cover our cost, and we need a minimum of 5 points to cover our cost after funding. So it's normally a 50-50 split, but if you reduce too far, then it's not a 50-50 split, because again, we need a minimum of 1,000 and 5 points. Andre is talking about the upfront fee. So the upfront refundable setup fee, you determine the amount, and if the client wants to finance it, they can finance it. Now they could go finance it anywhere they want, right? If they want to use our internal financing, we have a guaranteed approval financing model set up through a 501c3 nonprofit micro lender. That 501c3 nonprofit lender does require that the client pay a $250 down payment, because what they were a little unhappy with us when there wasn't a down payment required. They had a lot of clients that we had signed up, sent over to them, and the clients weren't engaging, and so they were chasing after people that had no skin in the game. So Andre's question is there an upfront cost for the credit and funding program? I would argue that's up to you, what you want the refundable setup fee to be, but you do know that we need at least 1,000 to do our part. And if they want to do what we'll call in-house finance, it's not in-house, it's through a third party, but that relationship we have, that 501c3 does require the client to pay a $250 down payment. Thank you, Andre. Okay, Art's got the next question. Art is correct. The grant, so let's talk about this for a second. We probably should have a whole nother training. How does this grant work? Well, the grant that we applied for and received allows us to provide the refundable setup fee to the client. Well, it allows us to refund the setup fee, is better worded. So that's where we're getting them credible. The client does pay the refundable setup fee to enroll. They go through the program. The grant reimburses them up to $2,000 back, which is what Art just said. Doesn't come out of your money, doesn't come out of our money. The grant reimburses the client up to $2,000 for the refundable setup fee after they've completed a minimum of a $100,000 capital raise. That's the deal. That's the promise. That's the commitment. So with that being said, let's read the rest of Art's question. So Art asked, what if a fee of 5,000 is accepted? That's a great question. So some of you are charging a lot more than $2,000, which is the cap of the amount that the grant will reimburse. So if you're charging, Art and Oscar does this and others, if any of you are charging more than 2,000 for the refundable setup fee, the grant's only reimbursing 2,000. So either you need to let the client know that it's not refundable, or it's only refundable up to 2,000. That's up to you. But you're controlling the client agreement, Art. And so whatever you put in the agreement is what the client's going to expect. What we can provide to you is the grant funding that reimburses each client up to a max of 2,000. So anything that you do above and beyond that's between you and the client. Make sense? Furthermore, there's a couple of you that said, hey, I don't want that setup fee to be refundable. I think that's not a good decision, because we've applied for the grant, we've received the grant. The grant is there to reimburse clients for their setup fee up to 2,000 for having gone through the process. So why would you want to take away from your client that $2,000 grant allocation? To me, that doesn't seem, I don't want to say ethical, but it doesn't make sense. It's not money out of your pocket. So why would you want to deny your clients from receiving that $2,000 grant? I don't follow that, other than the fact, I guess it makes it simpler for those of you that are jacking up, and I don't mean it negatively, but those of you that are jacking up the setup fee, then maybe you don't want to have to explain to the client that part of it's refundable, part of it's not. I respect that. In terms of, and then the last question before we go today, so then Art has a follow-up. So in terms of the performance fee, just as is stated in our license agreement, the performance fee is split 50-50. We have a 5-point minimum that we need to be able to operate off of. But yeah, if you charge 12 points performance fee, client pays 12 points after the capital raise, we split it 50-50, 6 points to you, 6 points to us. If you charge 20%, you get 10 points, we get 10 points. So it's pretty straightforward. It is a 50-50 split, but there's floors. And the floor is we need at least 1,000 to cover our cost, and we need at least 5 points to cover our cost. So as long as you're at 2,000 and 10,000, anything above that, at that point or above, does meet the 50-50. If you decide to do a brother-in-law sweet deal or what have you, drop below those trigger prices, then technically it's not 50-50, but you're doing that eyes wide open. All right, if you need any help, have any questions, need any assistance, let us know. We're having an excellent month. I do believe that we'll hit our first $10 million month in the month of August. Thank you for each of your contributions. We want to make sure that each of you are seeing the rewards. And again, I mean, our goal, our explicit goal is that each of you make between $300,000 and $400,000 a month. Sound too good to be true? Absolutely not. How do we get there? Enroll one client a day. One client a day. That's all we need. If you focus, and it's not a mandate, not a requirement, but if you focus on and bringing on one client a day, you're going to do very well for yourself. And again, we'll provide you the leads if that's the problem. All right, well, thanks everyone. We try to have a little bit shorter training on Fridays. We'll see you back Monday morning, but let us know, of course, if you need anything between now and then. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.